Welcome to another Will You Snell development live stream. Today we'll build some new mechanics for the bubblegum chapter. Yes, we have a bubblegum chapter in Will You Snell now. I'm pretty hyped. And I'm also pretty hyped for Monday, because there will be a special announcement on Monday. I'll announce my first big Steam game, and it will be awesome. Very hyped for that. For now, I'm also very hyped for new mechanics. New mechanics are always fun. Yesterday we kind of recycled the entire winter demo, all of the winter demo levels. So that got us a pretty nice quick start in this final chapter here. We already have 7 levels, which means we only need about 5, 6 more gameplay levels plus a couple of puzzles, and then the chapter is basically done already. So we should be able to make quite a bit of progress here. And one thing I would like to try today is making a new level with a new movement mechanic. I want to have little bubbles, and when you touch those bubbles, the snail kind of goes inside the bubbles and flies upwards. I think that will be a pretty fun movement mechanic. I had a similar movement mechanic once in one of my previous games, Sniffy, in case you played that or you remember that. I remember that that was a pretty fun mechanic, and I think it will fit in perfectly into this chapter, so let's make it happen. Okay, let's call this level Fly Bubbles, and then we can sort of turn this level into a preset that we can duplicate whenever we want to create a new bubblegum level. Welcome everybody. We are implementing a couple of new bubble mechanics today, so in case you have any suggestions for the bubblegum chapter for new mechanics, if you have a cool suggestion, we can make it happen today in this stream. So feel free to post your ideas, and otherwise enjoy. Hope you're all doing fine. Thanks for being here. Thanks for joining in, for mentally supporting me while I'm building this new content. And let's see how it turns out. I still want to have a multi-select tool that allows me to select objects from all layers. That would be so nice. Okay, but I'll take it. Walls. Let's remove most of the walls as well. Kind of useful to leave maybe 1 or 2 in there, so we can duplicate them more easily. Yeah, I think it's pretty useful to have a nice and clean preset level, and then every time we want to build a new bubblegum level, we can just take this as a starting point, which should make things a lot easier and faster, speed up the workflow a bit. Usually the exit will probably be on this side, and the player will usually start on this side. It's all fine here, so now we can turn this into a preset level. Let's call it Bubble G Copy Me. And then we can also use this one to prototype our new mechanics. So I think if we make a mechanic that allows us to fly upwards, then probably having a pretty vertical level would make sense. Something like this, where we go in at the bottom and then we have to go all the way to the top. And as I've said, if you have any ideas for mechanics that could fit into the bubblegum chapter, please let me know, because now is still a good time to make it happen. And I think I'll roughly outline the level layout before I start prototyping the mechanic. Yeah, nice. And I kind of want it to be possible to go up here. Oh, actually, maybe it's even cool if we leave that space down here empty, because that is, visually speaking, that is something I haven't done in levels before. It could be an interesting element, visually speaking. We'll see how that works visually. Maybe we don't even need to fill that entire area over here as well. Then here maybe we should shift the tunnel a little further to the right, so we can exit the level on the right. I feel like that is almost enough to get started with this level. Hey, welcome everybody. Antique Gear Games. I just checked out your video. I haven't finished watching it yet, but I'll do that after the stream. Pretty awesome. Keep going. Subscribe to Antique Gear Games. Check out his channel if you're watching. Alright, alright, alright. So something like this. Let's just finish the boundaries real quick. And then we'll also see how a level looks where maybe not everything is entirely filled in. Might look a little dumb. We'll see in a sec. And now let's just start building the bubble mechanic. Gotta make sure the bubble is about the same size as the player, so the player can swoop inside. Let's worry about the actual mechanic first, and then we can still polish the look of this. And as we've learned from our mistakes yesterday, it's probably a good idea to actually make this a circle, even though there are not a lot of circles in the game yet so far. Something like this. Looks like a nice bubble. Let's put the pivot point into the middle center. Hey guest, 3357448, what a nice name. Donut Dude, welcome. Hey, haven't been here in a while. You're working on your game as well? Cool. People in chat already know each other a little bit. That's nice to see. Cool, cool, cool. So let's create a new bubble object, shall we? Objects. Oh no, that's rooms. I can delete these color controllers. That was pretty much a failed experiment. Object bubble. Bubble. And the actual bubble movement will be coded into the move like a snail script. Where do I have my movement scripts here? In bubble equals true false, of course. And this is the movement script, and now we'll just have to specify how this changes when you're in a bubble. So for once, here's the gravity. That's the underwater movement. And if you're in a bubble, then instead of moving downwards, I actually want the player to accelerate upwards. And if you're not in a bubble, then we can just use the standard movement. And also I think I want to dampen the vertical movement speed a little bit when you're in a bubble. So let's multiply this by 0.95 or something like that. Okay, here we have our underwater currents. And this script here is responsible for modifying our jump height. The way this works is as long as you're not holding the jump button and as long as you're still moving upwards, you basically get a bunch of additional gravity applied to you. Which is, by the way, not one of the ways I suggested in my Why Your Platformer Game Sucks tutorial, but I just found out that this feels pretty nice for Will You Snail. And I think the clue here is that this additional gravity is only applied while the player is moving upwards. I feel like that's probably the crucial part. And whether you do that by dividing that speed by a certain value once the jump button is released, or just doing it this way, probably doesn't make all that much of a difference. Okay, so if we're in a bubble, then I don't want any of this to matter at all, so I'll just say if in bubble is false, and I think the rest of the movement can stay like it is for now. We can still fine-tune this later. Most important parts of this movement should be implemented. Now what we definitely need to do is just say if the player collides with a bubble, will that in bubble equal to true? Now there are a couple of little things we'll have to do in the AI because we want the AI trap placement not to get messed up by the implementation of this new mechanic. Now there are a couple of little changes we need to make. For once, we need to copy this in bubble. We'll set it to object player dot in bubble. just to make sure we can make a proper prediction. That is probably already the most important part of this equation. If we want to improve this even further, then in our movement iteration, we need to check whether we're colliding with a bubble object, and if that's the case, we need to set this to true as well. Okay, here's where we actually calculate the movement. So at the end of this, you could say something like, if place meeting xy with object bubble, then I'll set in bubble to true. Yippee! And I'll check real quick, is this the function I'm looking for? Yes, that's exactly what I was looking for. Very nice. Why do I put a semicolon there? Probably because I was coding in C# earlier, and now, now I'm back in GameMaker again, so I have to make the switch to that. Okay. Okay, this should work. Let's try it out. Which layer is a good layer for this? Let's put it on the minigame layer or something like that. Let's put a bubble here. Oh, I just realized there's no way to get out of the bubble. That's something I want to implement as well real quick. Jalenko and Antique Gear Games. Both into video production now. I love it. Very nice. Why did I not name the sprite properly? Oh, there's already a sprite called Bubble. Oopsie doopsie. Guess I'll call it Bubble Wubble then. Did I accidentally... No, object is not called sprite bubble. Sometimes I accidentally do that. Give my object sprite names. Okay, what did I just say? There needs to be a way to get out of the bubble, right? That's something we need to implement real quick. After that, we're ready to go. Give this a test run. Move like a snail. So where does the actual jump happen? Here. Okay, maybe we can dock this in here. We can have a proper look. Oh no, that's not a good idea because then we can't zoom in anymore. So here the jump is triggered. This only happens when this is a player, because I think this is where all of the shots are fired. Oh, and the sound effects and the particle effects are created. Okay. Here's where the actual jump force is applied. Okay. Basically, all of this should only happen if we're not in a bubble. If we are in a bubble, I probably want to execute an entirely different script. Makes this a little confusing because it means all of this is getting wrapped into another bracket. Geez, I lost track already. Maybe we should do it this way. Makes it a little easier to see what's happening. Well, that will basically make sure we'll leave the bubble. One tiny little thing is we want to make sure we can see the bubble when we're inside the bubble. I'll just add another line to the straw code here and say if in bubble draw sprite spur bubble. And now we can finally give it a go. Let's go. Planned price for the game, Steam release? Not sure. Something between 5 and 15 bucks.
Did you do that on purpose? Certainly looked like it.
Okay, how do all of these gaps in the walls look like? Oh. What did I mess up in the movement script? Can I have my mouse, please? Where's my mouse? Ah, here. Okay, I see. Problem we're having here is that there's still the wrong AI in here. That is an easy bug to fix. Let's delete it and put the correct one in. $200K is the planned price, guessed. That sounds about right. Okay, I mean, that feels weird, a little weird. Let's tweak those movement parameters a little bit. Maybe entering a bubble should slow you down a bit. Oh, that's cool. You even have... You still have your second jump after exiting those bubbles. That's pretty cool. I think we can do some pretty cool platforming with that. Okay, but let's see what happens if we just set the speed to 0 whenever we enter a bubble. Bubble. Where do we collide with? Where's this event? There are too many events in here. Here, bubble. And I'll replace that with a script. Skr, enter, bubble. Let's put that into various. Enter bubble. Then here we can just ask if we're not in a bubble yet, if that is false. Then I want to set h speed multiplied with 0.25, so that will basically slow us down a lot. And now the cool thing is I can also use that in the AI. So when we want to change that in future, I just need to change it in one place instead of in 2 places, which obviously makes things quite a bit easier. That bubble mechanic reminds me of Mu. Totally inspired by Mu. Yeah. 100%. Doesn't feel like it's slowing us down, actually. Why is that? Because I used the horizontal speed. I obviously meant to use the vertical speed. Falling on top of these bubbles from the top feels pretty good, but then jumping them from the bottom is still a little strange. But better than before. Do you think the vertical or the horizontal movement should be a little smooth as well? At the moment it's very snappy. But the snappy movement would also help to differentiate it from the underwater chapters a little bit. I don't just want to have underwater movement once you touch those bubbles. Even though underwater movement is pretty fun. I wonder if it maybe would feel a little more intuitive if you would perform a jump. When you exit those bubbles. Let's try it out. Let's try it out. I think it's worth to spend a little bit of time on polishing the feel of this, because if we build the levels first and then we want to change how these bubbles work, then we have to redesign all of the levels. If we get this mechanic right first, then we don't have to redesign all of the levels later on if we want to change something. So let's make sure we get it somewhat right in a way that feels good. Oh, hey, Daxun. Alright. Antique Gear Games leaving. Bye. Thanks for stopping in. And the bubbler I was looking for was the script. Move like a snail. Here. Okay, so the question is, can we make both happen? I guess we can. Yeah, let's see if that feels better. If so, we can remove those brackets to clean this code up a little bit. Nice. Okay, I think actually this feels a little better when you leave this bubble with a jump. There's a little more the expected behavior, because you do press the jump button to exit those bubbles. Still feel like we could probably speed up the vertical movement a little bit. You think it would be cool to make it a little bit less snappy? I think you're right. A little more momentum horizontally. Maybe a little boost upwards when the player initially hits the bubble. I kinda like the fact that the player's keeping the momentum, so if you land on the bubble from the top, I like the fact that you still sink down a little bit. The acceleration seems more reasonable now. I just wanted to check if the wind sound is still here, because I wasn't able to hear it. Yeah. Ooh, that sounded a little glitchy. Okay, but it's still here. Let's try to give this a little bit of vertical momentum as well. Shouldn't be too hard. I don't want it to be just as quite as fishy as underwater, but a little bit of horizontal movement would probably work quite well. Alright, and I wanted to remove those brackets. To keep this clean. And now let's go. Horizontal momentum. If underwater, else if in bubble. Now we should basically have underwater movement, right? And then we can fine-tune this. Oh, maybe it would be cool if we bounced from the walls when we're in a bubble. Would it? Maybe that's a little tricky to do with the AI. Okay, let's not do it. And just imagine it would probably look quite cool to bounce off walls. But the momentum we have is probably not even high enough to make any significant impact. Let's allow the player to gain even more horizontal momentum. Maybe pop the bubble if you touch the ceiling. Yeah, that's something I thought of as well. I think you're right. It should pop when we touch the ceiling. I think we can gain quite a lot of momentum horizontally now. Maybe also this could be the perfect level to introduce the Protectors, which is an enemy we coded quite a while ago, but we haven't used yet in any level. Okay, movement feels pretty good from what I can tell. Maybe we can try doing it a little differently. I said I wanted it to be a little more direct than the underwater movement, and I did exactly the opposite, so let's try making it a bit more direct, yeah. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. Okay, I think this is fine. Maybe we can clamp it a little bit to make sure it doesn't get too out of control. Because I'm a little scared of that. Maybe the bubble's vertical movement starts off slow but accelerates upwards until it reaches peak and pops. Yeah, then see, that is kind of what it's doing already, right? I mean, you get faster and faster. I mean, okay, you don't get super fast. It caps out somewhere. But still, that's more or less how it works. Who lives in Germany? Well, I'm obviously from Germany. And you create your games? Cool. Send me one of your games. I'll check it out if I have the time. Beep, 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 beep. Okay. This feels pretty nice, more or less. I'm not quite happy with how the camera follows the movement of the snail here, because you can't really see where you're going. Maybe we can fix that. Tell the camera if we're in a bubble, we want to see a little more what's above us, on top of us. Okay. Let's see if this helps at all. Hey, how's the game progressing? Actually, quite nicely. Okay, feels like this already allows us to see a little better where we're going. Let's see if we can do even more of that. Yeah, that is not entirely unreasonable. Feels a little strange and snappy at the moment, at times. But in general, this is great to see where we're going. Okay, good enough for now. Let's keep it like that. And make sure the bubble pops when we collide with a wall, or when we collide with the ceiling, probably. We only want it to pop. Or maybe we always want it to pop. Once again, we gotta do that in the movement script. I forgot. Move like a snail. And somewhere down here, we say don't move through walls. Let's clean that up while we're here. Okay, that is the ground. And this is the ceiling. When we hit the ceiling, we'll set in bubble to false. I mean, if this is the player, we can play a sound. You can see that this does not consider hello, autocorrect. This does not consider the audio settings. Why is autocorrect down there? What the hell? Sure, we have some sort of plop sound Why is autocorrect so out of place? Strange, strange, strange. Here. Let's just use a random plop sound. I hope plop sound 4 is fine. Then let's set the volume of the sound. Okay. Probably be nice to have a sound playing when we enter a bubble as well. Let's make that happen real quick. Just copy paste that in here. Ba 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 ba. If we're in bubble, if we're not in a bubble yet, we'll play the sound. And also I want to give this bubble a bit of a pickup FX. So when we collect one of these bubbles now, it will have to grow back to its original size. Should look a little better. Black King, hey! I'm doing fine, thanks. How are you doing? Okay, that plop sound is a little weird. I guess we can use that plop sound for bursting bubbles. I think it's reasonable that it bursts automatically when you reach the top. When you enter a bubble, I want to try a different sound. Maybe we can make this feel a little better. Let's see. Let me touch one of these bubbles. Pop, 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 pop. Do the different plop sounds sound any different, or do they sound exactly the same? Let's find out. My bet is that they probably sound pretty much the same. Oh yeah, they do. One trick that works sometimes is just pitching that sound down a bit. I'll obviously make a specific sound effect just for this, but at the moment it would just be nice to have a somewhat reasonable placeholder. Okay, whatever, let's just keep it. Lol. There are a couple of weird glitches you can do at the moment. I feel like we should give this a cooldown. And we can only enter that bubble if the cooldown has already expired. That should prevent most of the glitches from happening. Hey XCat! DKV, Passenger, how do you do, Jonas? I'm fine, thank you, thank you. Hope you're doing fine as well. I think when you enter a bubble, the vertical movement speed should probably be reduced as well. The horizontal movement speed. Let's just be fair and cut both of those in half. Let's see how that feels. Yeah, that feels nice. I think we should probably have a script for exiting a bubble as well, because that can happen in different places as well. Here, when we reach the top. No, I guess in this case we'll just copy that code to the button prompt, which is here. Okay, nice. Only took me 1 hour to code this. Now we can finally get started with building the levels. XCat, hi hi. In case I didn't say hi yet. Sometimes I forget and say hi multiple times. Yeah, so that bubble definitely needs a bit of polishing. But hey, that's the trick for now. The movement is pretty polished now. What's not quite as polished is the camera movement needs a bit of extra work, and then obviously want to have some sort of effect when you enter or leave one of those bubbles. A little bit of a burst effect. That would definitely add a lot to the feel. But that camera movement at the moment is a little annoying as well. Okay. So I'm wondering, should we turn this into a spike level with a ton of spikes, or should we turn this into an enemy level? What kind of level do we want this to turn into? Also, the goal should probably be further up. I mean, this is the first level where this mechanic appears, so it would be nice if we gave the players a bit of space to explore this mechanic. I mean, okay, let's put in our protector enemies, why not? Even though that's 2 new mechanics at once. Oh, did they look so weird? Why did I give them so weird sprites? Okay, let's see if we can trick them with our bubbles. Yeah, I think we can. Do they already react to the difficulty setting?
Oh my god, impossible difficulty. What a beautiful Christmas present. Thank you.
Doesn't feel like it. Or do they behave any different on story mode? Oh geez, why are the subtitles still displayed? That's a weird bug. No, they don't react to the difficulty. Let's see if we can make them a little harder. They're still a little easy to deal with, I feel like.
Who the hell launched this simulation in casual difficulty, and why do you still fail?
Maybe this doesn't even need to change all that much. Let's see. Why is it still so easy? Come on. be more difficult. Let's just overdo it a little bit, just because, like... Ah, I know why I can't see any difference, because I'm not playing on this difficulty. I'm so stupid. Yeah, that's why I wasn't seeing a difference. That makes sense. Actually, I want them to return back home when the level restarts. Feels a little weird if they don't. It's probably pretty exploitable. Room reset. Yeah, I feel like that's a pretty fun level now. I think it should be possible. Let me try one thing that could make this pretty fun. Player movement. Yeah, I think that will be very fun, very fun, very fun, very fun, very fun. Let's set air jumps to 2. That means you can do another jump after exiting a bubble. Vertical level layouts, love him. Nice. Nice, nice, nice. I feel like that additional jump gives you a lot of additional freedom to pull off skilled moves. Let's pull off a couple of skilled moves. Ah, jeez. I kinda like this because it gives you some space to explore this new mechanic. But it's also not too easy because the really difficult part is really just starting up there. Nice. See, I would have made that, I just didn't want to. Yeah, oh, that feels juicy. I like it. Very, very nice, very nice. So I think as we've never used these enemies before, I'll just set the new parameters to the default, and then we can worry about difficulty balancing at a later point. For now, this feels pretty awesome. Really, really awesome. and they look ugly. Did I already mention that these protectors look kind of ugly? Who cares? Very juicy, very juicy, very juicy. I like it. I kind of want to play the level again, but I also have some more ideas what we could do with this mechanic, because I think a simple, straightforward platforming level with this bubble mechanic would probably be pretty fun as well, even without any enemies. Oh, and then imagine what happens if we combine this with shooting, and oh my god, there are already so many ideas what we could do with this. That's why every chapter is longer than the chapter before. Because there are just too many ideas. Imagine what happens if we combine this with shooting. And imagine what would happen if we made another racing level with these. That could be fun as well. Gotta try all of that out. Could probably give the player a couple more options by adding a couple more bubbles here and there. And I think we can remove or reduce the cooldown a little bit of those bubbles, maybe make it half a second. I wonder what happens if you put another bubble here, for example. Or here. No, maybe that's too much. Maybe then it's hard to decide which... Let's try it out. Could be fun, could be dumb. Yeah, honestly, that one feels a little dumb. Don't know about the other one yet. Why can I not do it anymore? No, I lost my skill. Yeah, that one up there feels out of place as well, because it kind of tricks you to go there. And it doesn't look like that's a good place to go. Okay, let's move on to the next level. I think that one works pretty well. Pretty happy with that in terms of gameplay, in terms of visual. Maybe there are a couple of things we can improve. But even this very strange level design with a lot of gaps, I think looks pretty decent. Haven't had anything like that before. Looks interesting, you know. Let's keep it. Let's also make sure you cannot get up there without the bubble, which probably is possible if you jump in here and then go up there. Now it is definitely not possible anymore. Okay, let's create one more level with that mechanic. Fly bubbles. Oh, actually, let's start with this empty level, where we should probably replace the AI, because that's not the correct one. That will cause a bug every single time we duplicate it. No, 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 we don't want that. The AI we want in here is this one. And now if we want to create a new level, we can just duplicate that. Move it to the correct place. And call it D9 bubble platforming. Let's do a bit of standard platforming with those bubbles. And I mean, we're not even close to being short on ideas. What about the bouncy things I wanted to do? Oh geez, maybe we should code the bouncy things. With bouncy things, I obviously mean bouncy platforms. Okay, let's see what we can do with this in a vertical level layout. Mm-hmm. So what if there are just a bunch of spikes everywhere? And then there's a bubble that kind of similar to the underwater level. Brings you down there. And then you need to go back up again. And then maybe we can even have some spikes falling from the ceiling here. If that doesn't mess up the balancing and the difficulty, and if it doesn't feel too unfair. As if I would care about a level feeling unfair. Very good joke, I know. Okay. I think all of that should be possible with just one bubble. Then maybe you need to fall down there and grab another bubble. And then you need to go back up again. Gonna be a short level, but hopefully a cool one. I feel like the later chapters of this game are becoming quite a bit more fun than the first chapters of the game. Because I'm gathering more and more experience of sort of what makes for a fun level in Will You Snail. I feel like the levels are getting a lot better. Maybe that's also just because we have more stuff to work with. And also I feel like the newer levels don't have quite as much randomness for the most part as the early levels. I basically want the player to jump here, grab that bubble, pop the bubble somewhere here, and grab that bubble, and go back up. Now the only thing left to do is to put spikes everywhere. Everywhere. Especially on the ground. And then here we'll see if it's possible to collect that bubble without crashing into those spikes down there. I mean, it should be possible. But no way to tell for sure until we try it out. Antique Gear Games, crap, gotta go. Well, thanks for hanging in there so long. Have a nice day. Okay, then obviously want to have spikes here. So you can't just jump up there. No, no, no. That would be way too easy. Now let's put a couple of spikes on the ceiling as well. And then maybe we can make those fall down. Would be fun. Because obviously the code for making them fall down already exists. All we've got to do is enable it. Question is just if it's fair. Kind of want to put more spikes here. Which probably means I should move that bubble a little further away from that. Okay, let's try it out. Why do I press the save button so many times? Because then I'm sure that I saved. Saving actually happens quite quickly. Seems like flipping these spikes the way I did it is not possible. Great, great, great. That means we have to replace all of them again. I assume what we've got to do is rotate them. And then maybe check if it worked before we spend too much time on placing them. Okay, but now I'm already done. So beep, bap, boop, beep, boop, bap, boop, beep. Let's test it. It will be amazing, I'm sure. Oh, jeez. Okay, I didn't know that you were going up that quickly. That means that bubble needs to be a little further down. A little further to the right. Dang it. Now we touch the ground and we collect that bubble. Slightly suboptimal. But fixable. Similar problem here. Cool, let's move it further up again. Also, I forgot to place spikes there. It would be quite horrible if we accidentally made this level easy. That can't happen, no. Yeah, sweet. It's not hard enough. No, I want it to be harder. Or actually, at least I want it to have the potential to be a little harder. One thing I'm thinking about here is when you reach the top here, you still have basically a double jump remaining. So what if we make the player use that double jump? I think that would be cool. Would feel satisfying to get that right. And also I'm still not 100% satisfied with the placement of this one, because you still kind of scratch the surface there. Also I think this flow of this level could be improved quite dramatically if we just let the player start a little further down. Here, that should make it feel a lot better. Okay, hope that works. Then the question is, how do we force the player to do another double jump here? First of all, we need a bit more space. Maybe not even all that much. And then we'll just make the player go through there. And the goal will be here. Very nice. Right, one thing I wanted to try is also falling spikes, but I think they would probably feel unfair in this level. Because if you have to dodge them, then you'll lose a bunch of time and you'll die on the ceiling. So that would be too much of a luck component, whether they fall down or not. Okay, let's give it a shot. If it works the way I imagined it would. Falling spikes? Oh, haven't you seen them? Haven't you played the winter demo? Oh yeah, you mean I wanted to implement them? I mean, see, if I have to dodge spikes here, that would feel unfair, honestly. But let's try it, okay? We shall try it. As soon as I make it through there. I'm sure it is possible. Dang it! Already has a nice flow to it though. Okay, maybe that gap is a little too narrow. How did I do that? Okay. Let's be a little fair. For once. Once in my life, I can be a little fair. Okay, let's try falling spikes. Player. AI. Spikes. Winter. I think this is the correct one, if I'm not mistaken. Oh, Black King, you're back. That's awesome. This looks really fun. I need to play this. Stepper, thank you. It is pretty fun. But it's unfortunately also pretty impossible to dodge these falling spikes because they know exactly where you'll be. And you pretty much depend on pure luck in order to dodge them. Like with falling spikes it can't be done, I'm sorry. That is not possible. But I feel like without the falling spikes this level is a pretty nice flow. And I'm looking forward to implementing a couple more mechanics like this. Oh yeah, that is almost a little easy now. Okay, then I guess we'll call this a little relaxation level. I mean, it's fun. It's not particularly hard, but it's certainly fun to make it through there. It feels rewarding. It looks challenging, but it's actually not all that challenging. And usually levels that look challenging but aren't are levels that feel quite satisfying for players that don't know that they are actually quite easy. Can trick players into thinking they are a lot better than they actually are. Okay, I'm just filling in a bit of empty space here and there. Make this level look a little more polished and interesting. Oh, by the way, we didn't use the tower defense mechanic in the underwater chapter, so we've got to use it here. In this chapter, and I think it probably fits quite decently into this chapter as well, because all of the enemies in the tower defense chapter are already circles anyway, so I'll just put that tower defense level, where is it here? Let's put that next. And let's replace music and style of the tower defense level so we can check how it looks and feels in the bubblegum theme. For the style, bubblegum, and for the music, bubblegum. Okay. Pretty sure people will fight for a speedrun record on this game. I hope so. That would be awesome. Okay, something looks a little weird down there. I'll fix that. Oh, that feels so satisfying when you get it right. Here, this looks a little weird. Now it should be better. Oh, and actually the tower defense level looks pretty sick with this color scheme. I like it. Put a sniper here. Oh, and Enzo, which difficulty is this? Sniper. Maybe a basic tower here. Okay, let's hope this works out. Now, once you've placed all of the turrets, the enemies start coming in, and now I can upgrade some of the turrets. Let's upgrade this one. Not quite sure if people will understand this level, but we'll see how that works out in the playtests, I guess. Oh, you don't die anymore when touching these enemies. Oh no, they get through. Oh my god. Maybe I should put a basic tower here. 2 basic towers here. Maybe this works better, I don't know. Also, I'm not entirely convinced by these tower defense mechanics yet. Doesn't feel super satisfying yet. I wonder why, if that is because there's not a lot of polish yet, but I mean, even in terms of gameplay, it's not super satisfying so far. Maybe I should simplify this entire system a little further, but I think I'll worry about that tomorrow, or maybe... Oh no, not tomorrow, because tomorrow there will be no live stream. Tomorrow's Friday. I've gotta finish the YouTube video for tomorrow. If you have any more questions or suggestions, feel free to post them in the chat now. Tower Options. Oh, that's a typo for sure. Thanks for pointing that out. I'll see if I can find that real quick. Yeah, as I said, I'll be reading chat for a couple more minutes, then we'll call it a day. Where is that? Look out for the announcement on Monday, by the way. I'm announcing my first game on Steam, which is not Will You Snail, by the way. I've made another one before that. Mini games, yeah. Mini games, tower defense. Where do we have those consoles? Tower OP options, thank you. I probably would not have found that because I'm super bad at spotting typos. Very nice that you guys can do that for me. Sometimes I even get really major typos into my videos. I always wonder how that happens. Pretty crazy. Okay, I don't see any more interesting questions or suggestions in chat, so Time for a bit of stretchy. Hope you enjoyed. And tomorrow we'll create some more cool stuff for the bubblegum chapter. Nice. Have a nice day. See ya. Not tomorrow, on Monday.